Elements of Poker by Tommy Angelo. We're going to talk about this book, the fourth book in the Poker Book Club for 2024, and an absolute classic. I don't think there was any other book that was advocated for as much as this one. It has a cult following on my social media feed, my Twitter. I follow everyone that just loves Tommy Angelo and this guy. So this is actually not my first introduction to Tommy Angelo. I first was introduced to him on a video training series on deucescrack.com. And this would have been 12 years ago now, at the very beginning of my poker career. And he was the mental game guy. He did an 8-video series with a lot of the principles that are in this book. So I've come back to it now, and as time fades a lot of the concepts, it's nice to sort of re-imprint and rediscover with 12 more years of experience some of the things that he's about. So this is an incredible book. It's really an amazing book. I think it's a must-read if you are a poker player that takes the game at all seriously. And these are sort of different ways that you can think about common problems that happen in poker from a mental game perspective, different frameworks for how to go about thinking about them. But it's not just frameworks, it's not just theoretical, it's also very practical, pragmatic advice with a ton of experience, right? There's just so much wisdom that oozes out of Tommy Angelo in everything he writes here. It's clear that he has thousands of hours of experience that he's passing forward to you for you to do with whatever you would like. One of the principal ideas that he establishes early in this book is this idea of the A, B, and C game. You may have heard of this idea before. When I first heard of it, it was groundbreaking, and to reapproach it now is great. So we all have an A game, right? It's the A game is our best, the best that we have based on our knowledge. And when we gain new knowledge and we study and we learn, we're working on our A game. We're trying to make our best poker better. But everyone also has a B game and a C game. And most of us, myself definitely included, spend most of our time in poker not even playing our A game, right? We're going to be playing our B or a C game. And so improving at poker, you can, of course, improve your A game, and that'll improve your results. But moving some of the C game up to the B game or even the A game, right? Or taking some of that B game and spending an extra 20 minutes or an extra few hands in the A game. Cutting your session short when you're playing in the C game. This is an idea that will really improve your results over time. And it's a concept that he establishes early. I think it's a brilliant way of looking at it because it meets people where they are. It treats us as human beings, and that we're not going to be able to execute perfectly at all times, and says, okay, well, how can we make the best of our human flaws, which I think is just great. He also talks about reciprocality, which, as a premise is basically like everyone gets it all in aces versus kings. That's not actually where we're winning our money, even though we might have the biggest fluctuations in dollars in those pots. The difference is going to be the small differences. Quitting a little bit earlier when we're tilted, right? Being a little bit more disciplined when it comes to sizings. Like all of these things make the difference over the long run. And so he talks about that. He names it reciprocality, I believe, in this book. He advocates for a demeanor as well, which is sort of, he talks about mum poker, so it's giving out as little as information as possible, spending as little energy as possible when it's not necessary, and being generally like pretty stoic, not giving away anything for free. And I think this is sort of an ideal poker image and presentation to the world. I think a lot of it makes some sense. There is one aspect of what he argues for where the jury is a little bit out for me. He talks about respect. This is something super resonates with me because I think in the beginning of my poker career, it wasn't actually about poker at all. It was all about respect, about garnering respect for the world from my peers, from anyone really, to gain some self-assurance of myself. So that was like my start in poker, and I really wanted respect from my peers. And I really struggled engaging with people that wouldn't give me that respect, right? This was my naive beginning in poker. And some of his clients wanted that respect. What is not apparent to me is that respect is useful in poker. He talks about the way to get respect is to play well, to have good results, and to be sort of emotionally disciplined, and respect will follow. I'm not sure that being respected is a good thing, necessarily. It may mean that people fold to you more, but that may mean that your value bet's work a little bit less. So I'm not sure. The jury's out still on that concept. of deploying the stoic, sort of like intimidating force of the table is the right way to be. But I enjoy the conversations nonetheless. So everything in here, not all the best players in the world do everything that Tommy advocates for here, but I think everyone could improve by deploying these concepts, right? Like it will hurt no one's game. It could only make them better. If I could compare it to anything else in the literary sphere, this is the art of war for poker. It's general advice, wisdom distilled down into ideas that you can take sort of just on the top and let them float by, or you can meditate on them and really think about them and incorporate them in a way that'll make a big impact in your game. So, totally recommend this. Tommy Angelo is great. Elements of Poker, fantastic. A poker classic. You got to read it. That's it for this one. On to the next one.